The other day, I was driving down Interstate 49 in the morning, just heading to work. I found myself observing the driving patterns of other drivers. While looking around, I really found that there were a whole bunch of assholes, and then there was me. Yeah, I'm just kidding. But really, what I did was I boiled everyone down into three different type of drivers. And I really believe that these driving types really match up with the leadership or lack thereof of each one of their leadership styles. But before I get into that, allow me to introduce myself. First, this is the Fire Forge Leader podcast, and I'm your host, Steve Baumgartner, a simple man that has learned a lot of hard lessons over time. The mission that I have here is to deliver these lessons that have been forged on the front lines in every effort to help you, the listeners, grow in your leadership without having to learn them the hard way like I did. So as I'm driving down the road the other day, I was doing like 70 and a 65. Really, officer? What do you mean you don't believe me? Hell, it must be that speedometer that's broke, because that's what I was doing with 70 miles an hour. Anyways, as I was driving down the road, I saw some people that were just absolutely flying down the road. You know, these assholes. They're these aggressive drivers. And I'm guessing that they were probably breaking, 90 miles an hour or even better. As they were driving, they would speed up, they would slow down, they'd make really sharp cuts in front of people. They would slam on their brakes, they'd be cussing out other drivers. And really, they were just intimidating all the way around. On the other end of that spectrum, there were the meek drivers. You know this type too, right? The speed limit 65. They're driving at about 40. Seems like 20. They don't have a care in the world. They don't have anywhere to be. And they're definitely in no hurry to get there. Nice enough people, but they always seem like they're the turtles that are in everybody else's way. Which leaves me with the final driver, the ones that I would call assertive drivers. And I would put myself into this classification. When I'm driving, I generally drive pretty consistent. Most of the time when I'm on the interstate, I have the cruise control on. I don't speed up or slow down. I gradually come up to other drivers, the meek drivers. I put on my turn signal. I go into the other lane. I put my turn signal on, come back into the lane. I don't allow the other drivers to really get to me, right? I'm out there. I'm enjoying the ride. I got a podcast on. I'm listening to some music, or I'm just being inside my own head. So when I look at those three types of drivers, the aggressive, the meek, or the assertive, it got me to thinking about how, people generally fit into these classifications as leaders as well. You have those aggressive leaders, right? The type that, I've been around quite a few of these in my lifetime. They like to intimidate, right? They like to be the big man in the room. They like to use an intimidating voice. They like to put people down. They like to threaten people. It's that type of person that likes to just crawl up your ass and live there. They also, whenever you have a decision that you've made, or, you have an opinion on something, they treat you like you're dumb. They throw their hands up and they're like, yeah, how the hell could you even think that way? Right? You can never do anything good with an aggressive leader. You also have meek leaders, right? They can't answer a question. When they're backed up to answer a question, they really start beating around the bush. They're like, let me go ask my boss, right? They won't ever get out of your way so that you can make a decision because they're too scared to make one. And really, they're not going anywhere, right? And then finally, there's the assertive leaders, right? And these people generally stand out in a crowd because there's not a ton of them around, right? They're very clear and concise with their points. They can be clear and concise riding up the chain or to their subordinates. They don't unnecessarily speed up or slow down because they're attached to longer term goals and they know where they're going. Oh, yeah. And they've allowed themselves time to get there, right? But probably the most important thing is they don't allow the other drivers to affect them. They don't allow the assertive leaders to change their path, right? They don't allow them to change their destination. They might curtail their language to be able to deal with that person, but they still have the longer term goals that they're driving to. They don't allow the meek drivers to get in their way. They simply turn on the turning signal and allow time to pass. So I'd like to really leave you here today with just some really quick tips on how to be that assertive driver, or that assertive leader overall. First and foremost, you need to attach yourself to the destination, the long-term goal or objective or the vision, right? Second thing, you need to be clear and concise on where you're going. What's that journey look like and how are you going to get there? Third one is leave early, right? You don't have to be in a race to get to work if you're not running late in the first place. So allow yourself time to get there, right? Make aggressive goals, but make them realistic. And then last but not least, don't let these other drivers get to you. This is probably something that I need to work on myself. I allow those aggressive drivers to get to me, and I allow them inside my head to take up space and get at me and make me second guess my leadership style. I've been on a journey to not allow that to happen anymore. They don't deserve that space inside of my head. The people that I'm leading deserve for me to be an assertive driver, an assertive leader, someone that they can follow and look up to. Overall, those aggressive drivers, they're going to get their own tickets, right? You don't need to help them get there. It'll happen. Let them pass. The meek ones, they're going slow enough. Just pass them by. Allow them to hop in with you. But if they don't want to hop in with you, they don't need to be on the same journey. And then overall, just enjoy the ride. Turn up the radio. Cancel out the rest of the noise. Enjoy that podcast. Overall, just enjoy the ride. So I know this one was a little bit short, and I hope you got something out of it. So if you appreciate what you heard here today, I invite you to give this podcast a rating. And then if you feel it in your heart, please leave me a detailed review. Those ratings and reviews, what they do is they really help us move up the charts so that we can get this message out to more people. And then lastly, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on a single episode of the Fire Forge Leader podcast. So over the next couple weeks in the Forge, next couple weeks, the next couple months, we're going to have a lot of guests on here, anywhere from psychologists to authors, entrepreneurs, and many others. Along the way, I might even have a few interesting things to say myself. So don't forget, words without action are meaningless. They're totally worthless. So after the heat of the forge, shape your thoughts, cool off that brain, quench that brain, and put these new tools to use. I appreciate you for tuning in to the Fire Forge Leader podcast, and I look forward again